Tonight, two monumental losses. The faithful around the world mourning the death of former Pope Benedict XVI. And we remember Barbara Walters, an institution in journalism. First, that news from the Vatican, the passing of the Pope Emeritus, who died at the age of 95. Benedict shocking the church when he resigned nearly a decade ago, the first pope to retire in 600 years. Pope Francis today praising his predecessor, thanking him for his faithful service. Reaction pouring in tonight. And what we're learning about funeral plans in the days ahead. Inez de la Catera standing by at the Vatican. Also tonight, we remember legendary and groundbreaking journalist Barbara Walters, a trailblazer and pioneer who paved the way and held the door open for women everywhere. Best known for landing the big interviews with the powerful and famous. She busted through the glass ceiling as a journalist at a time when men dominated the TV news business. Tonight, the tributes pouring in from her ABC News colleagues and beyond. Deborah Roberts with a look at Barbara's 50-year legacy as an extraordinary woman and journalist. We're tracking two New Year's Eve storms on both coasts tonight. In the Northeast, a nasty rainy forecast for the big night. Crowds in Times Square can expect to get drenched right up until midnight. And that major storm system in the west bringing heavy snow and flooding rain. Our team timing it out. New details in the Idaho College student murders. Police tonight saying we have our guy. Confident they've arrested the man responsible, but offering few details on a possible motive. We're learning more about how they tracked his car and used DNA evidence that allegedly helped identify the 28-year-old grad student. Kana Whitworth with new reporting from Idaho. And across the globe, from Australia and Dubai, millions are already ringing in the new year. Plus more from Barbara Walters in her own words.
More than being remembered, I hope that by younger women, I can help them aspire.
Reflecting on her life and career, how she hoped to be remembered.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us on this busy Saturday night, the final day of 2022. I'm Whit Johnson. Two major headlines as we come on the air, the loss of two indelible figures. Our ABC News family remembering TV icon Barbara Walters and her impact on the world of journalism. But we begin tonight with former Pope Benedict XVI passing away at the Vatican at the age of 95. Benedict made history with that stunning announcement in 2013, the first pope to retire in nearly 600 years. Benedict reaffirmed many of the church's traditional teachings and grappled with the fallout from the sex abuse scandal. Pope Francis honoring his predecessor in a prayer service today, hailing him as noble and kind. President Biden among the many paying tribute, praising his lifetime of devotion to the church. ABC's Inez de la Catera leading us off from Vatican City.
Tonight, death of a pope who shocked the world. Benedict XVI, fierce defender of the faith who broke centuries of tradition, dies at age 95.
I'm Chris Livesay at the Vatican, where Pope Benedict has passed, raising new questions about Pope Francis's future.
Also tonight, television trailblazer. We remember Barbara Walters, legendary journalist and tireless pursuer of the newsmaker Get.
Are you sorry you didn't burn the tapes?
Yes, I think so.
In Moscow, Idaho, the college town reacts after a major break in the mysterious murders of 4 students.
It just was closure.
In Ukraine, new Russian attacks as Vladimir Putin marks the new year with a combative speech. Plus, the world welcomes 2023, from the land down under to Asia and beyond. New York getting ready for its biggest celebration in years.
Oh, I've always seen it on TV, so it's a dream to be here today.
And later, the Rubik's Cube fast approaching 50, why the color-matching puzzle is showing no signs of aging.
Whenever I'm bored and I don't know what to do, I just play with this.
This is the CBS Weekend News from New York with Adriana Diaz.
Good evening. There is only one pope tonight. Benedict XVI died today, ending an unprecedented decade in which the Catholic Church had 2 living popes. one reigning, one retired. In 2013, Benedict became the first pope in 600 years to resign, saying that at age 85, he was no longer up to the job. His successor, Pope Francis, is 86. The path could be clear now for him to step down. CBS's Chris Livesay is in Rome with more tonight on the death of the German-born pope and his impact on the worldwide church. Chris, good evening.
Good evening, Adriana. With Benedict's death, we are in uncharted waters because he was not a sitting pope. However, we do know that starting on Monday, his body will be lying in state. And on Thursday, Pope Francis will preside over his funeral here at the Vatican, which Benedict continued to call home after he shocked the world in 2013 and resigned.
Tonight, on this New Year's Eve, celebrations across the globe, bigger than we've seen in years. 2023 has already begun for billions. Fireworks across Paris, a huge party in Sydney's iconic harbor as Times Square gets ready for its big moment. But will the weather spoil the party? The streets flooded today in San Francisco. The unprecedented moment at the Vatican today. The first time in 600 years one pope paid tribute to another upon his passing. What Pope Benedict's death means for the future of the Catholic Church. Remembering a legend. Barbara Walters, the trailblazer who smashed through glass ceilings, what she said was her true legacy. The suspect in the murders of 4 Idaho college students has now waived extradition. New details on his studies in criminology. He asked former prisoners how they chose their victims. Fellow students tell us how he behaved in the weeks after the murders. And our correspondent one-on-one with the police chief and the suspect's lawyer.
Did he kill these 4 students?
And before you pop that bottle of champagne, tonight, watch our report in this blind tasting. Do people prefer a $200 bottle or one for just 18 bucks?
You both prefer the cheaper one.
This is NBC Nightly News with Jose Diaz-Balart.
Good evening. I'm Kristen Welker in for Jose. On this New Year's Eve, we are remembering 2 giants who left their mark on history, Pope Emeritus Benedict XVI and broadcasting legend Barbara Walters. While we pause to remember them, so much of the world is marking new beginnings and the celebrations, some of the biggest we've seen in years. This is a live look at Times Square, where the crowds are already packing in. They're braving the rain, which doesn't seem to be dampening spirits. We've already seen some countries ring in the new year, from Hong Kong to Dubai. And as the countdown clock starts here, Stephanie Gosk has the latest on the pomp and preparations.